So if you're finding yourself competing with big groups, big box, manufacturer-owned chain, the Goliaths of our industry, you might believe they have every single advantage. And you're right, apart from 4. And in this episode, I'm going to walk you through those 4 advantages that you as a David have over the Goliaths.
Welcome to the Business of Hearing podcast, the #1 marketing and practice growth podcast for high-performing private practice hearing care leaders. My name's Ollie Luke. Pull up a chair, pour yourself a drink, and let's have a chat.
So welcome along to another episode of the Business of Hearing podcast. And bear with me through this. My voice is not the strongest. I'm working. I'll be sipping water as we go. But going to dive into a big topic, which is this David versus Goliath puzzle. As independent practices, we have a few challenges on our hands, right? We've not just got to compete with the ever-changing narratives, the misconceptions, and many of the puzzles that nobody fundamentally wants to buy hearing aids and spend as much as they need to spend in order to solve the challenge. But we have Goliaths. And the puzzle with Goliaths is they play to every misconception that causes us issues. They talk about the hearing aid. We know that people need more than hearing aids. They're playing the price battle. They get access to a significantly lower cost of goods than us. And they can be built around convenience, whether it's Costco, where people can get a hot dog and a pair of hearing aids in the same hour. We've got a lot of puzzles that way round. And from a simple economics perspective, there's no way that we can ever compete with Goliaths. Think about it. They have everything. They have strength of relationship, they have brand, they have money unlike we can ever imagine. Just their recruiter probably gets paid more than your senior employee. They spend more on the coffee in their marketing department than you can spend on your marketing period. They've got every single competitive advantage. And we have all the weaknesses as Davids, as independent businesses. We've got to wear all the hats. Our budgets are tight. They need managing to every single dollar. Nobody knows we exist. Nobody cares we exist. We've got to fight for absolutely everything. In every situation, the Goliath should crush the David. The big group should destroy the independent. Yet, there's a lot of thriving independents that build incredible businesses that are wildly successful, wildly profitable, go on to be extra valuable and acquired. And why is that? How does that possibly happen in a world where that fundamentally doesn't make sense? And it's down to those Davids understanding the 4 things that I'm about to share with you that are their competitive advantages. Advantages that they have over Goliaths, that Goliaths cannot touch them on, and how they've doubled down and leaned into those areas, which means they play a very different game that makes them very difficult and unique to compete with. And I want to take you through them. Let's jump into the first one. The first one is specifying niche. Now, Goliaths. The problem with being a Goliath is you're fundamentally stuck to always serving the mass market, because Goliaths are not even focused on profit. That isn't the biggest thing for them. It's usually market share, how many customers they have, it's stock price. They're playing a very different game. You and I as independents, profit margin is really bloody important. But if you're a Goliath, many of them run at a loss or break even, right? They're playing a different game. It's a market share game, and it means they have to focus on mass market. They play the game of we're here to serve everyone. Now, as a David, that isn't where we want to sit, because if we want to sit and go toe to toe with Costco, with manufacturer-owned chains, it's a battle to the bottom. We can't compete. We're buying cost of goods more than they're selling it in some cases, right? So how are we ever going to win that battle? The way that Davids win as private practices is we've got a niche. We've got to do what they can, and that is specialism. Could be a specialism in tinnitus. It could be a specialism in concierge-led care, high-touch care in many cases. But we need to lean into a point of difference that is unlike them, and it's in a niche market. It's the affluent boomers who want to do this correctly. It's somebody who would go for a premium private dental experience and offer them the option of being a premium private practice hearing care solution, not the person who shops at Costco. That's what we need to get to. It's niche. And the more we can double down on a niche, understand our niche and own our niche, following the 9-step methodology that we talk about, getting clarity on the who, looking like the logical option for that who, and building the evidence that we help that who to achieve the outcome they're looking for, unlike anybody else, that is the sweet spot that David needs to double down in. Now, that could exist in any industry, right? Think about restaurants. restaurants. You want to be a mass market restaurant, try and compete with McDonald's and good luck. But if you want to be niche and specific, if you want to be a steakhouse in a certain area, if you want to be an Indian restaurant, if you want to really double down on being a local Italian restaurant, and that is the sweet spot. If you've got a gym, good luck competing with whatever common gym that people go to, right? Be a niche, be CrossFit, find a way that's be a health spa as well, whatever it may be. But the niche ones are the ones that the Goliaths cannot compete with. Bring that to hearing healthcare. You've got to find your niche and be very tight in it. Second advantage that you have as a David that Goliaths do not have is you're close. Now, put yourself in a Goliath situation, and I always think the prime example of this is if you've ever watched Undercover Boss. So Undercover Boss USA, it's great. I enjoy watching it. And what's always the situation is you have some CEO who comes and spends time in disguise, the worst disguise you've ever seen, with some of their employees. And what they quickly discover is processes are not being followed, customers are not being handled correctly, issue, and then, one rock star employee that doesn't get the appreciation they deserve. And the issue you've got with Goliaths is they're so far away from the real coalface, the fundamental understanding of what goes on in a day-to-day business, which means for them to get any form of feedback, for them to understand things, they've either got to deal with a problem that's escalated multiple times before it's reached them, or they've got to sit down with a focus group to try to understand exactly what's going on. You as a David, different situation. You're close. You overhear every conversation that goes on between your front desk and patients. You see what goes on. You experience day to day. If a patient has a challenge, you're going to hear about it in the same 10 minutes. And when you're close, it means you can pivot, you can adapt, you can make decisions that isn't following a rigid rule book that's been set by a corporation, but do the right things in the moments, change processes in real time, adjust an employee's behavior in the moment. Like that is a big advantage. And it means especially right now as markets shift as fast as they are with AI search, if a big Goliath, we take a Costco, if they want to make a fundamental marketing change, it's like turning around a cruise ship. It's so heavy to do because they've got to roll it out so wide. You as an independent, it's a jet ski move. You can make a quick turn and be going in an opposite direction very quickly. And by being close, that is your superpower to do so. Number 3 is care and connection. This is a little bit of a challenging one to articulate, but really it fundamentally comes down to, it's a little bit of closeness again. But really this is like, you think of your patients that walk through the door, you know them on a different level. And this is something a Goliath never can do. Take a big box, take a manufacturer-owned chain. It's a number, it's another face, it's another name in the database. It's a model built on scale and churn, essentially, where you're a little different, right? You know the birthday of your patient. You know preferences around them. You know what car they're pulling into the car park in and know who's turning up. You know that they got that dog last week, their nephew was in some form of school show, whatever it may be. That stuff holds a significant amount of weight by being close and having connection, because when patient, customer sees connection, it double downs depth of relationship. And have you ever heard about anybody sending a thank you card, some cookies of appreciation to Walmart employees, to Costco employees, whatever it may be? Doesn't really happen. But how often does that happen to you, where patients are appreciative because there's a closeness of connection? And this is something that Davids have that Goliaths don't. That depth of understanding, that depth of connection, that depth of relationship through closeness that you can double down on, that doesn't just become some corporate nonsense written into a documentation of how you should treat your customers. It's just core DNA of wanting customers, patients, etc. to have the best possible experience, that you'll do whatever needs to be done in order to do that. And here's the 4th, and maybe this is the biggest: relationship. How do we all make buying decisions? How do we choose who we want to repeat purchase with? We buy from who we know, like, and trust, right? As it's been famously said many times. The challenge Goliaths have is they cannot build their brand around a single person. Now, you see people doing it through personal brand becoming so big, right? Elon Musk is the face of his brands. Mark Zuckerberg is the face of their brand. Now, that is good in some ways, dangerous in others, as clearly we've seen in the last couple of years through just some of those people alone. The challenge big Goliaths have is typically they don't have connection. They don't want one face to be the face of everything because it's very risky to them. So that's why they create mascots. They'll try and have a cute hedgehog as the face of their brand or whatever it may be. Tony the Tiger is the face of the cereal brand. Like, they need to go for that route. You can lean into actually being the personality and face associated to your practice. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. And if you can double down in that area, it's a big super advantage that you have over Goliaths. You become their person, you become their specialist. And if you close the gap between the professional reason they chose you and the personal relationships which will ensure they always choose you, then that is a super flex. How do you do that? Well, lean into personality. Email newsletters, how do you communicate with your patients? Is it all hearing health news, or are you showing the human? You showing that you were with your family at the weekend and we did this, we've been on vacation and did that. Check out my dog, half asleep after this. That stuff holds connection. People like to know you, trust you, like you, etc. Goliaths cannot do that. That is David's strength. And you as an independent have a vast number of strengths over Goliaths. They have a lot of strengths over you. And we've just got to play a different game. Because unless we want to raise tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to play their game, then it will be silly to try and go toe to toe with them. We need to play the game that they cannot play. And that is niche positioning, not going after the mass market. It's being close to the day-to-day to be able to make pivots, changes, and updates as they're required in real time. It's being close with care and connection to know our patients and hold a relationship on a completely different level. And then it's really flexing relationship and the personality, which means that they work with a person, buy from a person, trust a person, because the Goliaths cannot compete with that. But if you're going toe to toe with manufacturer-owned chain, big box, or any of them, it isn't a case of how do we outsmart them, outwit them, outspend them. It's a game of how do we outhuman them, because that is fundamentally what they cannot do. But hopefully that is helpful. Appreciate you riding along as I've tried to squeak my way through this episode, and I'll be back again next week with another ep. I will speak to you then.
And there we have it. Another episode has come to an end, and I have a quick favour to ask. If you have found this helpful, then who do you know who should listen to this podcast? I strongly believe a rising tide lifts all boats, and right now, private practice needs to stick together to fight these big, gormless groups and these manufacturer-owned Goliaths that are looking to take market share from us. Consider who should be listening, pass on the word about the Business of Hearing podcast, and I'll see you again next week.